Oh, sorry. I had to spit out some Disney Star Wars there. What's up, my dogs and my peeps? Welcome back to Josh's World Tier List. Today, this is our third installment. Today, we're going to be doing some Star Wars lightsaber fights. These are the ones that I can remember because I know there's a lot during like Clone Wars and there's a lot during Rebels, and some I have left out because I deem them not super necessary. We have amazing, good, mid/mid, and then a new tier, not that great, and then we have absolutely atrocious. Get ready, because there's definitely going to be some that are absolutely atrocious. So, kicking it off in no particular order, we have, you can't really see, but that is Ahsoka versus Baylan. This is their first fight. I think this is episode 4 of Ahsoka. Um, this fight, and honestly, the fighting overall in Ahsoka was very underwhelming and disappointing. I expected to see some pretty good acrobatics with the fighting. I didn't expect anything super crazy, but I kind of expected some prequel fighting, considering this is Dave Filoni and this is his baby, his character that is Ahsoka, and she fights very well. And this, she just fights very stiff and clanky, and I mean, so does Baylan, but you know, we don't really know who he is. We don't know how he fights. So this fight, I'm gonna put at not that great. Number 2, we have Yoda versus R2D2 in Empire Strikes Back. For context, R2D2 I think stole one of Yoda's snacks, and my boy Yoda did not take kindly to that. I'm gonna put that at good, not amazing, but pretty good, just because I know Yoda and R2 probably have history, and they try to act like they don't know each other. And I think the choreography is that great. I see a lot of people complain about the choreography not being that great, but I think the choreography is pretty great. So we're gonna leave that at good. This is our first good. Get strapped up because there's gonna be a lot of bad. Rey versus Kylo, Force Awakens. I know I'm part of the 1% here, but I absolutely love The Force Awakens. It's such a cool Star Wars movie, and it gave us like little glimpse of hope. But then, you know, the stuff that came after didn't help. But I think this baby is going on good, almost amazing. I'm going to be honest, but I think it's good. I think it is so pretty with the snow. It's so dark. Kylo's lightsaber looks so cool. Rey looks so cool. Even though Rey dominated Kylo here, which she really shouldn't have, I just kind of chalk it up to Kylo just not really expecting much from her. And then all of a sudden she starts busting out, you know, moves because she's just a natural born fighter. And he's like, oh shit, you know. I know a lot of people hate that Rey won, but I kind of give it a pass. I wanted her to kind of just get lucky with this fight, but in this fight in general, I think it was very cool, and it was a great climax. Number 3, you can't really see here. This is Ahsoka versus Morgan Elsbeth from The Mandalorian. I'm gonna put this baby at good because the atmosphere was very cool. I love the water, and there's like a little part where Morgan like slammed her staff into the ground, and then it made like a little sound. It was really cool. So I'm put that in good. Oh boy. Oh god, this is Moff Gideon versus Bo-Katan. I absolutely hated Mando season 3. I think it's one of the biggest wastes of a season. I think nothing really happened, nothing important happened. I think just a lot of bullshit and a lot of Jack Black and Lizzo happened. Um, this is gonna go in not that great. I'm sorry. I mean, and then I still don't even know if Moff Gideon died at the end, but you know, he gets hit towards the ledge and then he goes and he just gets consumed by fire. So stupid. Could have been better, but even then I wouldn't have saved the season. So this is Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Vader round 2. This is going in mid/mid, and that's going for the whole show in general. You know, before the show was coming out, there were talks like, oh, the rematch is going to be crazy. But every time Kenobi fought Vader in the show, it felt very flat. The environment wasn't very cool. It was very dry. I think that's one word I would describe the show as. It's not terrible, but it's just dry. There's no essence to it. And I think the dialogue is very basic too. And I don't think the music is that epic either. The music is very simple. I remember watching the fight for the first time, and I was like, the music is very boring. Like, it almost puts me to sleep. You know what? There were some shots where, like, the bad lighting kind of made it look cool. Next up, this is Ben Kenobi versus Maul. For a fight that's much shorter than Obi-Wan versus Vader, I'm going to put it at good. And that just proves that you don't need a long-ass fight to be good. I just love how Ben Kenobi, or Obi-Wan Kenobi I should say, just completely destroys Maul. He's in his wise, you know, hermit era, and Maul confronts him, and Kenobi just beats him in like 1 second, and the dialogue after is short but very sweet. Obi-Wan versus Grievous. Always been a massive fan of this fight. That's going to amazing. Even though the lightsaber fight between them doesn't last too long, the stuff that happens after is still considered a fight, and it's very entertaining. So that's going to amazing. I'm just telling you guys right now, Yoda versus Palpatine is my #1 favorite fight in all of Star Wars. It's one of those fights that you didn't expect to see happen, but I just love it because it's one person from each side of the Force. Basically, you have the light side, and then you have the dark side, and when you pin these two together, it's amazing. I love Yoda's dialogue with,
"If so powerful you are, why leave?"
That line is super badass and makes Palpatine look like a wimp. Next up, we have Maul and Savage Opress from the Clone Wars versus Palpatine. This baby's going to amazing too. Did not expect this fight to happen. Next up, we have Ben Solo versus the Knights of Ren. If you don't remember where this fight was, this was in Rise of Skywalker. It sucks because the setup for this scene was great. I love when Kylo reached in his back and whipped out the lightsaber. It was a little weird, you know, but it was cool. And then once the fight was about to start, I was like, okay, this is going to be cool. And then, I don't know, the fight was very short, and it just, it wasn't that crazy. I'm going to put it at meh/mid, just because the setup was good. What is this? Oh, okay, so this is Rey versus Kylo from Rise of Skywalker and Kijimi. I'm actually going to put this as good. I think, I'm going to spoil it, but I think I like this fight better than their second fight in the movie where they're on the remnants of the Death Star with the water and everything. I think this is better because I like the way the camera keeps changing to like the room that Kylo's in, and then to the outside area where Rey is in, and their dialogue is pretty cool. And then when they smash into Vader's helmet, and then Kylo goes, "Oh, so that's where you are." I thought that was really cool. So that's going in good. Next up, George Lucas versus Disney. This has been an ongoing fight for centuries, and this is something that's been very important to us. So I'm going to put it at amazing. I think the choreography could use some help, but it's the essence that matters. Put in the comments, who do you think is going to win, George Lucas or Bob Iger? Next up, here we go. Rey versus Kylo, round 2, Rise of Skywalker. Not that great, dude. I mean, I like the big waves and stuff, but like, I don't know if I'm remembering it wrong, but like, there's like no music when they're fighting. It's like quiet, and like it's awkward, and then you have Finn in the background going, "Rey!" And then she force pushes him away, and then the fighting is still just super stiff, and like compared to the fight in Force Awakens, like this fight just has nothing. It has nothing, and I mean, I kind of like when Kylo senses Leia and she dies. Alright, here we go. We're breezing through the sequel trilogy. We have Rey and Kylo versus the Praetorian Guards. There's a lot of controversy with this one. When I first saw this scene, I thought it was cool, but then as the months went by and people were picking at the choreography, I was like, oh wow, the choreography is actually really bad for this fight. But I'm going to try to ignore it, and I mean, I like that they fought the guards. I'm glad they weren't just background characters. But, like, none of them used the Force. Rey and Kylo are both Force users, and, like, I don't think they ever used the Force once during this fight. But it looks great, and I love when Rey, like, throws, like, a fireball or something at the red drapes, and then, like, the fire spreads. Like, the fight looks great. It's all red, and the aesthetic is great. Luke versus Vader, Empire Strikes Back. This baby has always been a favorite of mine. I'm not super crazy about the original trilogy, nor the fights in the original trilogy, but I'm putting it at amazing. It's on par with George Lucas versus Disney. Like, I just love the creepiness of this. I think this is the only lightsaber fight that I think is scary in Star Wars. It's all quiet. You hear the steam in the background, and then you hear Vader, and like the whole atmosphere is great. And then Vader's throwing shit at Luke. Like, this fight has everything. It's amazing. Next up, this is from Tales of the Jedi. We have Dooku versus Yaddle. I'm going to put this as good because the context and the weight of this fight scene is very important. It's one of those fight scenes you did not expect to see happen. Who's Yaddle? Who the hell is Yaddle? You mean that little Yoda puppet from Phantom Menace? Who cares? Well, it's very important to Dooku's story and how he turned to the dark side, and Palpatine telling him to do it and kill him, to kill her, was very cool too. So I'm going to put this at top for now. Look at that. He even surpasses Yoda versus R2-D2. Next up, Luke versus Vader in Return of the Jedi. I'm going to put this as good. Almost amazing. It has so much impact. Next up, we have Darth Vader versus Reva. Now, as much as I think the show is dry as fuck, and Reva is a shit character, I'm going to put this at good. Because I like that Vader just toys with her, and seeing Vader just go all out was super satisfying. And Reva really needed to be put into place because she was being a biatch. Alright, we have Kenobi versus Vader round 1 from Kenobi. I'm gonna put this at not that great. Because like I said, it was very underwhelming. And it's too fucking dark. And they're in such a dry, flat, unappealing location. The only part I think is cool is when Vader lifts him up, he taps his lightsaber on the little flammable whatever the fuck that is, and then puts him in the fire. That was the only cool part. The rest is dry as fuck. Ben Kenobi versus Vader in A New Hope. I'm gonna put that at mid/mid. If I put that at any lower, I'm probably gonna get hunted down and killed. Of course, this fight being filmed back in the day does not. What the fuck is this taking up my screen? Dude! Thank you. This being filmed back in the day with the, the stiff choreography, it's just not that good. Of course, the weight of the scene matters. That's why it's only being put at mid/mid, not any lower. I like the line, "Strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you can ever imagine." It's a cool line, but it's a mid fight. What's next? Okay, so this is Mace Windu versus Palpatine. I'm gonna put this pretty high with good. I know we could have gotten a better fight. I've seen lots of deleted, filming choreography behind the scenes stuff, and we could have gotten something a little cooler, but I still respect that they were able to do their own stunts, and it still looked good. It was a cool fight, and I was really surprised to see Mace Windu able to take him down. Next up, we have Ahsoka versus Vader from Rebels. This baby is going to be amazing because the dialogue, and this was the first time we saw someone break Vader's helmet a little bit. You can see his face, and the dialogue is very emotional, and the music is great too. Rebels has some great moments, and this is definitely one of the best. So that's amazing. Next up, in Clone Wars, this is Maul versus Ahsoka from Season 7. I'm going to put this baby at good. I think it is a tad bit overrated, but I still think it's great because they actually did motion capture for this, which I think they should have done for the whole show, but of course, you know, that's fucking hard as shit to do, I imagine. So this baby surpasses Yoda versus R2-D2 from Empire Strikes Back. Next up, whoo! Remember the Acolyte? This is, what's his name? Soul versus Quamir. This was their second fight. I actually really like this fight. Choreography is great. Soul is such a badass. I think one of the things the show did right was casting the dude from Squid Game to be Soul. I think that was very, very good choice. He is such a cool character, such a likable guy. And Quamir is also a cool character. The environment, not so crazy, but when they meet in the first time in the hallway, it's pretty creepy. So I want to put this fight at good. It's a good fight for a not so great show. Next, this is Quamir from the Acolyte versing all the other Jedi. I'm gonna put this as mid/mid. This could have been good, but the beginning of the scene of him fighting is covered by a fucking tree. You know, you see him going swish swash, and he's going super fast, and you find yourself looking left and right with your head like, what's going on? I can't see anything. It's like you got a bad seat at a baseball game. Could have been great, but you just got bad seating. Next up, Kanan and Ezra versus the Grand Inquisitor from Rebels. I'm going to put this as good because it kind of reminds me of Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon versus Maul. You have two Jedi. One is the Master and one is the inexperienced, you know, rogue Jedi Padawan, and versus, you know, a dark side user. And this fight's cool, and I especially like at the end when Grand Inquisitor would rather off himself than go face Vader. It's really dark and says a lot about him and Vader, so that's really good. Next up, we have Maul. You can't really see here, but it's Maul versus the Inquisitors from Rebels. I'm going to put this at good. I know a lot of people have a problem with the Inquisitors with the spinning with the spinning lightsabers, with the helicopters. I think you guys need to shut up. This is Star Wars, you know, crazy shit happens all the time, and some Inquisitors using a super fast spinning lightsaber to gain gravitational height is where you draw the line. Okay, bro, go watch something else then. I think this fight was good. Maul fighting the Inquisitors is also very satisfying because the Inquisitors ain't fucking shit. We're almost there. Of course, we have Obi-Wan versus Anakin from Revenge of the Sith. Almost need no words. I think the fight is actually a little too long, but it's amazing. No need to talk about it. Here we have Obi-Wan and Anakin versus Dooku in Revenge of the Sith. This actually is a very significant part in Revenge of the Sith. This fight's really cool. I like seeing and hearing the space battle going on in the background. You know, you can hear the little pew, pew, pew in the background, and then Dooku taunting Anakin. I think is really cool, and it's even cooler when you read more into it and you hear what Palpatine and Dooku's plan was beforehand. You know, Dooku has to try and get Obi-Wan subdued and out of the way so that he can have some alone time with Anakin and get him to turn to the dark side. It was really cool, so I'm gonna put that at good. Next up, we have Attack of the Clones, Obi-Wan and Anakin versus Dooku. I might get hate for this, but I'm gonna put that at not that great. I don't think it's that great because nothing really happened in this fight other than Anakin losing his hand. I don't think anything really got accomplished. I feel like this would have been better if this fight happened in the middle of the movie, like Anakin losing his hand, Obi-Wan getting beat up by Dooku, and then at the end of the movie, it's a little more impactful. You know, something happens. Next up, we have the Duel of the Fates, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan versus Maul. I'm gonna put this at amazing. The music, of course, the soundtrack, peak, absolute peak. Let me put this a little lower. There we go. And I love the scene where Obi-Wan has to watch Qui-Gon die with the shields. You know, you have to wait for them to disappear, then they reappear. Like, that whole thing is really cool, and I love when Qui-Gon is meditating and Darth Maul is just pacing back and forth. Like, that was so cool. So that's amazing. Last but not least, we have Anakin versus Dooku from the Clone Wars. This was actually the last time they fought before Revenge of the Sith happened. I'm going to put this at good, and what I find really cool is that Anakin got the upper hand of Dooku, and Dooku was looking a little scared. He kept looking over to Palpatine like, hey, he's getting me, you might want to help, and Palpatine just can't help but smile. So, really good fight. So that is it. That is all the lightsaber fights. Absolutely atrocious. I'm gonna put that there. I changed my mind. Let's see, is there anything else? I might put these two down there.